It's the People's Podcast Show with Adrian Biddle, Melissa Bartlett, and your boy, Kerry Bixby. It's your show, so tell us what you want to talk about. It's the Round Table Podcast Show.
Where every time that intro comes on, I swear, I think we knew money. I'm not gonna lie.
That's how it works.
Boy. Especially the profile. Adrian's profile is like so dope. That would be a dope painting. Just that side.
That's how I do.
It's powerful right there, boy. I'm telling you.
All three of us. I love it. I love it.
I think it's time for new pictures. So I put this petition out before. Anybody in the Charlotte area, Gastonia area, who's a photographer and would like to participate in helping us promote the show on this platform and take some new pictures and fresh pictures of us, please send us your information so we can link and connect and talk about how we can get together and do some work. Because I think it's time for us to take some new pictures. I think, how old is that? That was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, post-COVID, pre-COVID,
Yeah. So anybody who want to come and help us out, let us know. Get a chance to put your photography business out there. Please let us know. Charlie Toots, good evening, family.
Hey, Charlie.
What's up, Charlie? What's up? Shoot. Well, to those that are tuning in, if you don't know who we are, it's the Roundtable Podcast Show. I get to introduce these two amazing individuals that, every time we get together, I'm not just saying it's magic. It's so cool when you can vibe with some folk that has like tendencies and like spirits and just led by the spirit. So I get to introduce this phenomenal sister who I'm so proud of. And shouts out to her daughter. Proud of her as well because she's getting ready to walk that stage, y'all.
Walking down that aisle.
Yes. Miss Pitbull in the dress. It is Melissa Bartlett. What's going on, sis?
What's going on, family? It's Wednesday hump day. It is that midweek. And of course, as I tell you, I need this to get me through the rest of the week. So I'm happy to see my brothers, CD, A Money. Glad to see the new look. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all doing new things. I see.
Yes, indeed. We feed the media.
Pass that rock. Move to the layup, the A Money. Our brother.
Hey. Thank you. And Charlie and everybody else out there, thank you for tuning in. That's our number one fan right there. Appreciate you. Well, not even fans, just family.
Yes.
Always there to support. We appreciate you and everybody else out there that's watching right now. And right below me, the man that stirs the drink, Mr. Conductor himself, Mr. Culture. Excuse me, Mr.
Yes.
Culture.
Mr. Culture.
CD.
Man, I still get used to that name right there, being cultured. But it is truly an honor and a blessing to be with these two individuals and to get the opportunity to chit chat and vibe with the family that's out there, which is the Roundtable family. And again, shouts out to Charlie Toots. Man, let me tell you something. Charlie, let me tell you something, y'all. It was funny because Charlie be posting some stuff. I follow Charlie on Instagram, Facebook. I think she's on TikTok because I just joined TikTok. And I'm gonna tell you, Charlie be dropping some platitudes, some knowledge, some nuggets and stuff that either have you thinking or have you laughing. So, Charlie, keep it coming. Man, we appreciate you. We love you, sis. Oh, she started laughing. So she knows what I'm talking about.
So me and Charlie are truly VBFFs. And so we hit each other up, inboxing and DMing each other with things that because of our professional face, we can't really post or even maybe feel comfortable sharing. But we can still DM and inbox, and she has me cracking up whatever she sends me. And of course, all I need is a little bit, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw it to another part. Yo, Charlie Twos is hilarious. Some days she has no idea that message makes my day, gives me what I need to keep going.
For real. So family, as y'all know, we've been trying to bring it to you each and every other Wednesday or so. So this Wednesday, today, it's another What You Talking About Wednesday. So the rule is, really, there are no rules. We talk about any and everything. So whatever comes across our plate, whether it be off our dome, something that's been sent to Melissa, that wise words of wisdom from A Money, or even something that maybe Charlie or whoever out there may drop on us. We're going to talk about it. We're going to, as the big words say, pontificate about it. And then we're going to throw it to you and see what your thoughts are about it. So what shall we start things off with tonight, family?
Adulting 101.
Ooh, whoa. She came out the gate swinging. Talk to us, sis. Adulting 101.
So I was having a pre-show conversation, family, with my brothers about adulting 101. Because even though we are parents of adult children, we are still parents, and they are still our children. But finding that sweet spot between being a parent and
Charlie, what's he saying? He said 0 stars, do not recommend.
Wow. 0 stars, do not recommend. How do you find that sweet spot of making sure that you're not, number one, imprinting either your experiences in the beginning of adulting, while still being to a point where you can maybe guide and not be so engaged, so down where you may be getting in your children's way.
That's a good one. That's a very good one. A Money, did you want to start things off? What do you?
That what Melissa just got through describing is that's interesting, because as we were talking before the show, looking at your children as adults now, it's almost like you got to switch your whole realm of thinking of them at that point, because you're so used to having a hand on them and guiding them to the places that you hope that they need to be at, to now actually pulling the reins back a little bit, taking the leash off, and just letting them do their thing. That mindset, though, and for Melissa, for you to even, I know you're going through that stage with them right now, but for you to even be thinking about it right now is just, that shows true wisdom, growth, and just thinking outside the box. Because I know I had a hard time with it. I still had mines. I still had a hand on mines for some. Still do some of the time, but it's just as far as just thinking and just really letting them do their thing. As far as what you instilled in them, you just have to trust that what you put into them is going to lead them to where they need to be, and just trust that is the direction that they're going to take it and go with what you put in them.
Okay.
Very good. Wow. Yeah. We, my wife and I, Renee and I, we're fortunate enough. Like we've got 3 boys, and I don't even want to say that. Let me rephrase that. We got 3 grown men. Okay. 2 in their 30s and 1 that is, getting into he's in his 20s. He's about, he's our baby boy, but at the same time, we had to change our mindsets as well when it came to dealing with each of them. And the reason why is because I love the way A Money said that, as far as the mindset that you have to have, the dialogue is different when it comes to talking to adult children. It's to the point in which, it's no longer when they were younger, it's the instructional. Actually, there's stages. So when you're very young, it's the caring and guidance. And then when it's, they're in their teens and such, it's more along the line of more instruction and planting more seeds for their future. And then when they get into being adults, you're now looking at it as, okay, our conversations are no longer baby, they're more adult. They're more, okay, you've got to start making these decisions. But when we talk about it, I'm going to give you the pros and I'm going to give you the cons, and I'm going to allow you to make your decision. And you can't force them to do things. You can't try to sway their judgments and things of that nature. It's more of you being peer-based, if that makes sense, and really talking to them to get them to understand the dynamics of, hey, you're no longer on Similac, you're now eating meat. You're now responsible for all of your decisions, and I'm here to support you. I'm here to help you, but I'm not going to do it for you. And I think, dealing with grown men now, that's something which, we had to really come to terms with. And then in our dialogue, when we talk to each other now, it's even different. It's no longer, boy, what did I tell you? And blah, blah, blah. And this, it's more like, yo, man, what was you thinking? What did we learn from this? Do you, how does it feel? Even to the point which now we have dialogue about their choices in their future, in their finances and things of that nature. So it's a whole different animal when it goes from, hey, allowances to, hey, pops, I'm thinking about buying a house. So this is the things I've done.
Or they come to you with their investments. Like, I don't have any investments, So it definitely, my baby girl is definitely in one of her friends is really into that, and he got her into that, and she has mail that comes, and like she's like, okay, I'm doing good. Oh, okay, I made some money. Oh, and I'm just like super proud because at 20 I wasn't thinking about investments. An investment game has always been around. We just didn't know anything about it. So Charlie said we haven't prepared these kids like we were. Certain parents have. I'm one of those parents. Yeah, I'm one of those parents because I believe, as the old folks used to say, you got to be able to think your way out of a paper bag. You can't give them everything.
Right.
You got to make them work for it. And a lot of parents do not incorporate critical thinking in raising their children, and you need to.
Yeah. And I think that's important too, that if you look back on how and I'm glad you even started off with this topic, adulting 101, because I look at the dialogue that I have with my parents now. Like Renee and I was just over my parents last night. And, I look at, my mom and I, we always had that vibe, and we would always talk. We worked together and stuff like that. And my dad too. I worked with my dad and stuff. But it's interesting the dialogue that I have with my father, because it's like, he's like, hey, he said, let me ask you a question. I said, what's up, Pop? He said, yeah, tell me what you do at your job. And we talk. You know what I'm saying? For him, for him to ask that question and stuff, and he's always been a big proponent of knowing what his children, his grandchildren, his great grandchildren do or whatever. So it's like, when he asked me that question, I was like, I was kind of taken aback, but then at the same time, I was like, yo, and we started talking about it. But it's that type of dialogue that we have now, me being in my late 50s and stuff, and me still looking at him as my dad, but for him to look at it as, he's a man, he's taking care of his family and stuff. And, my dialogue to him is questions and learning more and understanding to still, I guess, to still be a part of my life, because of course I'm grown, I'm moved into another county, I'm with my family, I got grandkids, and I'm doing all this other stuff. But for him to ask that type of question, it's interesting, because that's a prime example of adulting 101, to know that, okay, my dialogue and my discussion with my children has to change as they get older in order to keep that connection between us, to be prevalent and still be influential in their lives. Let me ask these questions. Let me talk to them about this. And I think a lot of times some parents, unfortunately, they miss those golden opportunities to still draw closer to their children. You know what I'm saying? Even though things change between them, they may live in different areas, they get married or they get divorced or this and or that or whatever sort. You have to change your dialogue with your children as their lives change. So therefore you can still be prevalent in their lives somehow. And not just because I'm a mom or I'm a dad. It goes beyond that. Yes. What is the relationship? What is the connection?
Right. I think that's a lot of parents don't understand. I think sometimes a lot of parents prepare themselves for the battle more than preparing themselves for the change of interaction. Like, your interaction does not have to be a fight. It does not have to be a war. You can have an interaction with your adult children that is everything going to be hunky-dory every day? Probably not. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't have to get to the point where they're slamming doors and packing up their stuff and they leaving, or you like, I'm throwing you out. Like, it does not have to get to that point. And I think a lot of people have listened to society and some of their own immediate circles and feel like that's what they need to prepare themselves for. Mm. And
and that's a misnomer on, and it's unfortunate to even say this, but it's somewhat true. That's a misnomer in regards to our culture, that when they hit an age,
right,
that's it. It shouldn't be that way. What it should be is, I remember when our oldest son Marquise, when he moved out on his own, and it was interesting because when he did it under his own precept. He had just got out of college, he graduated from Gardner Webb, he came home, and he was chilling with us and stuff, and he wanted to have his own place. He wanted to have a room. Being at Gardner Webb, having his own apartment, his own peers, and they're doing what they're doing and everything. He didn't have to answer to, anybody. It's not like, he was at college and he was like calling us every day. Hey, I'm getting ready to go to this party, y'all. I just want to let y'all know and stuff. We depended on being individuals that put so much in him that he would make the right decisions when he was going out. And then with him coming home and then being able to say, you know what, hey, I want to live on my own or whatever. Hey, have at it if that's what you want. Just know we're not kicking you out. We've done that with our boys. It's like, yo, if you want to stay here, we ain't got no problem with it whatsoever. Just be mindful and respectful of us because we are older. And then, let's keep that dialogue going and be successful in all that you do. Save your money, do this, do that, set yourself up for success. And when we as parents start having those again, it's the change in dialogue from telling them what to do to, hey, let me give you some advice. Let me be a mentor. Let me give you some, peer influence per se in order for you to be successful. When parents start doing that with their adult children, things I think will be a whole lot better and more successful per se.
Right. For sure.
Oh, hey. We got is this a new follower, y'all? Did we reach out?
Welcome.
Welcome.
What's going on, sir? Salute to you. Hitmas Felix. He said, you said it, relationship.
I think it's unfortunate that a lot of parents
me too, Charlie.
try to be what you call it, so of an authority figure
Mm.
in their kid's life that they don't understand the importance of having a relationship with your children. And then it's too late. Well, that's a lie. It's never too late, but it just makes things more difficult if you try to wait until they are adults.
Right.
To have this relationship with them. It's just I guess for me, I have a balance of or a struggle with trying not to ride my daughters too hard because they are Black young women in America. And I don't want to just prepare them for war on the outside. I don't want them to just be like, yo, you're Black, you're a woman, you're smart, you're beautiful. Unfortunately, these are things that's going to come against you. I want to also have some uplifting advice and, share some good experiences as well. And so I'm never against my daughters speaking to other people because everybody has their own path to adulthood. And Charlie posted that she left and came back. My mistake. I think a lot of kids, they feel like adulting means having your own place and being out of your parents' house. That's not adulting. Adulting is just that you taking care of yourself no matter where you are, because you can run out here, stack up your money, and boom, get you an apartment, and then you in it for 6 months, and now you gotta, if you don't have anybody to sublease, now you got this experience, and a lot of the time it's chained because you tried to go out and do something and it wasn't successful. You need to be really prepared to go out on your own. And there's nothing wrong. Our culture makes us feel like something's wrong when you are in your 20s and you still at home. But my African village, my Haitian village, my Asian village, they don't force their kids out, especially their daughters. Right. If their daughters are not getting married, they do not want their kids to move. Their daughters to move out, especially because it's just a part of, you can be an adult and a grown woman here.
Yeah. Pittman said sometimes the parents don't feel like they should respect the kids' boundaries, and that's a problem also.
There you go.
Good point. Thank you for saying that. That's a very, very good point. Trav, what's going on, man? Look at us. My man. So Trav says, why does a parent give advice and guidance to an adult child? It can feel like they're dealing doubt to their child.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about the delivery. Again, it's all about the communication.
Yeah.
It's how we word these things, And there's a time and place when you have to interject guidance and advice. I think many a time, when I'm talking to my sons and stuff, 1 minute we could be talking about a certain situation and it's a conversation amongst us. It's great. It's an amazing conversation. And then the next minute, I could go in the kitchen and I see such and such in the sink. And I'm like, yo, man, when you just, So it's the time and it's the place and it's the dialogue and it's the conversation that you have with them that fits that particular situation. I can think many a time sitting with our youngest and we're talking about stocks and stuff and what he's done. And then we're talking about, him managing a business and how his employees have been. So, and then we can just go in there and we can just cut up and act a fool and laugh and trip out. And my wife is like looking at us like we're crazy. So it's all about our relationship and it's about the dialogue that you had to fit the time, I think.
It's a funny thing you said about the plate in the sink. I think that is one of my crossing the bridge. Because what's the universal rule? Don't go to bed with dishes in the sink. Don't go to bed with dishes in the sink.
Right.
And I was like, I know y'all didn't do dishes, and both of them have always been well, they would speak their minds respectfully, but still speak their minds. And so they're like, Mom, look, I had this going on, I had this happening, I had a paper due, whatever. I didn't get a chance to do the dishes, but I would set my alarm to get up in the morning to make sure they were done. Yeah. And old school was like, I said, I want dishes done before you go to bed. Right. New school is like, okay, so there was an acknowledgement that something wasn't done. There was a plan to execute it. It just is not done when you want it done. And what's the difference between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m.? Like, you know what I mean? Like, when it comes down to it getting done, ultimately you want the dishes to be done. And so having that type of compromising attitude helps as well when you're saying, okay. And I think a lot of parents are afraid to say, that's fine, I'm okay with that, and I don't know. Like, and a lot of parents don't say I'm sorry.
Wow, that's a good one. Oh man. Charlie 2 says, so I said my mistake because now she's about to retire and I'm teleworking. Nope, because of what he said, no boundaries. Funny you say Haitian, because I'm Haitian, and you are absolutely right. We can stay home as long as we want. In fact, we are encouraged to stay home. Yeah. And it's the culture. It's amazing how, if you look at different cultures and how they treat adult children, either the level of respect that is on both sides. If you really look at different cultures, the level of respect of the parents to the children, because they're recognizing them moving into a new realm, versus the adult children having reverence for the adults, because they're understanding, look, they're about to get into their golden years, and this is everything they sacrificed for me to be where I am now. I must repay them. And then because of the love and admiration. And it's so interesting that, you know, I think sometimes we've been disconnected from that type of mentality to like you said, have respect for the children and even be able to say, I'm sorry, to make sure that connection is still there between the child and the adult, even though both of them are adults. And then for the child to be able to say, hey, you know, no matter what, Mom, Dad, I got you. You know, I'm gonna take care of y'all, or I respect, or I thank you for everything that you've done for me. You know, stuff like that.
Because I don't want you to, if I need you to help in my care, I would like to think that you would be doing that. But I want you to live your life to a point of really, I don't want to have to support an independent child, because independent children that need support aren't independent, they're dependent. And so, and I'm not talking about having a rough time here and there, or you need your parents for this and the other. All of us have been there. But I'm talking about there are parents who are paying for their kids' independence. To me, that's, and I feel like if you got to do that for your child to be out, they need to be back home.
True.
So, what are some of the things that you guys did that you felt that helped prepare your children for adult, or as we said, adulting 101?
Okay, money, thank you. Look at that.
He made a face too, like
he did. Like,
I think there's a story behind it.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm waiting now. Oh my goodness. You put it out on me like that. I just knew you were gonna have a good one. I was ready for it. Again, we have 3 boys, guys, men in our lives.
Or men childs, as I like to call them.
Yeah, each one of them were different. Each one of them were different. The only thing that we could go upon to prepare them was live by example. That's probably the only thing that we could do, because I believe in working and working hard. I don't like being lazy. I'm always trying to do something. I'm always trying to learn as well. I like to expand my knowledge in everything I touch. My wife is pretty much the same way. Like when it comes to research and knowing what's going on and shopping for the best to help us and such, she's the virtuous woman straight out the mouth. I can honestly tell you. So, and it goes to, as an example, when our oldest came to us and he asked us about marriage and how did we do it and what will we do, because he was thinking about that as well. And he said, I always looked at y'all as an example, and such. And I told him, what we did, but I also said, we live by example. Anything that we do is not going to be something that you can go to the gossip papers about, or something that would bring disfavor upon this family or upon God. So anything that we do, we hope that they would see and they would hopefully try to emulate. And so far, just looking at how they are, I think we've done well thus far, knock on wood. Do we make mistakes? Yes. And that's when we make a mistake, we admit to that mistake. So therefore they know about it. So therefore they're not making the same mistake.
Right.
So we try to be transparent as possible with them. And I think that's helped.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Hey, Money.
Well, CD touched on a lot of the stuff I was going to say as well, especially the life experiences. And when I say life experiences, I'm talking about them coming to either me or my wife and having discussions about something that they're going through, because every day is a new lesson in something. And the blessing is that you have your young adults coming to you to gain your wisdom on it. Me and Tara has talked a lot as they are going through adulthood right now, as far as not guiding them, so to speak, but just what right and wrong is. We're not going to steer you in the direction that we know that you need to go into at this point in time, because at some point in time you're going to end up having to learn from it. Right. So as far as just being there, being that listening ear for them, which I think they like, and have that sounding board, in addition to just I'm trying to think of some other examples. Even the marriage thing. I know my oldest had approached me about something about that, but not. And he's holding us up as an example as well. However, it's some things that I would have to teach them or tell them that not every answer goes with the same situation. It depends on the individual as well as the times, because we got married young, and because we got married young don't mean right now at your age it's going to work for you the way it looks.
Yes, you're about to go into another topic that I was watching on one of my social media platforms, and the young man was speaking about monogamy. And he was speaking to the point of us ushering in the ideal to our young men and women that dating, and this doesn't mean you're being promiscuous. It just means, you have different people, you're dating different people, you're, having fun, you're living life, and people want to say, hey, you young, you don't want to be tied down to one person and this, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. And he said how unfair it is to make and have somebody, 10 plus years with the mindset that, you can be exclusive with this person, but if it don't work out, it don't work out, and you could just date somebody else. And then when they're like in their 30s, you're expecting them to turn on monogamy, because now it's the time to get serious. It's the time to start thinking about marriage. It's the time to start thinking about having a family and this and the other, and how unfair it is. And my oldest daughter has been with her boyfriend with 4 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally watched that, and I had to text her and be like, call me when you get a minute, And I had to apologize to her and say, hey, I'm sorry, that I've always respected the young man. I'm happy. There's no doubt in my mind that this young man loves my daughter and they're going to probably be married. But I make the joke and I'll have conversations like, especially when she got to college, like, ain't nobody trying to holler at you. Like, you ain't seen nobody like you raise your eyebrow at or whatever. And she's like, yeah, but can't nobody compare to Harrison. And I was like, oh. And, I had to call her and say, hey, I just watched this. I apologize for pressuring you, or not even trying to pressure you to be with somebody else, but just like not even understanding and respecting the level of the relationship that you have. And I think that's the problem. Like, having talking to you about coming to you with marriage or the possibility, even if they don't really at that point, but they're starting to say, well, what does that look like when I want to marry somebody, or I'm trying to really get serious? What does that look like? Yeah, like we as a society as well, we usher in multiple relationships to say that's what you need to do when you're young, and then expect for them to just stop because now you at an age where you're supposed to get married.
Yeah, it's almost and shouts out to
Mr.
Felix. Yeah, he said that speaks volume when our kids see us as the example. Yeah, you're right, sis, because as I look back on my life, and matter of fact, not only my life but my friends' life and other people and stuff, and and I've been guilty of that as well, because when you're young, it's almost an oxymoron, because when you're young, you're expected to go out and enjoy yourself. You're young, you got time. Blah, blah, blah,
sow your oats.
Sow your oats. Put the notch. Anyway, but you're expected. I almost said, my bad. But yeah, you expected to do these things, but then all of a sudden, then you got your mom saying, well, where you gonna settle down? I need me some grandbabies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, it's the whole thing. And when you were saying that, I thought about my niece, okay, our niece. And our niece dated her husband in high school, when they were in college. They got married. They have a beautiful daughter who is extremely talented and smart, and they're still in love. Mm-hmm. And you look at it, you're like, wow, why are we promoting them to go this direction when, in all intents and purposes, there's a possibility at a young age they may be able to find their soulmate, start a beautiful life together at a young age, and then but everybody's different. Everybody, it's society. It's what society deems as, quote unquote, the norm and what should be done, but it's so unique to the individual on what they need to do, because everybody's not cookie cutter if you really think about it.
Everybody isn't, and then you have all of these interactions and life paths winding, and even sometimes soul ties, and you did all of that and you still miserable, you by yourself, and you wind up marrying somebody who was the best out of a whole bunch of junk.
Dang.
Oh.
Hey, buddy, hit the nail on the head on that one. I was like thinking that too. It just came out quick about him. Yeah.
So you have this, this unfortunate, kind of happening. Like, okay, well, and now you have these people who are with all the baggage from the other relationships, and then you have the person with doubt, like, oh, well, what did I do? Or, what did I do wrong? I mean, there's just all these different things. And so, again, that was just interesting. Something that I did that I just wanted to share, because I think we do need to encourage healthy relationships.
Right.
But I think we need to make sure that we are promoting monogamy, because again, practice makes what permanent. Practice makes permanent. And so if you're practicing monogamy, you're gonna be pretty good at monogamy. But if you practicing dating several people, then you're gonna be pretty good at dating several people,
Yeah.
Because when you got the one, you got the one.
Amen to that.
Charlie. She said, I have a long distance relationship for years now, and I understand what your daughter meant on I'm cool on the dating field. Yeah, the algae field dating pool. I am very nervous and scared because it just looks like ugh.
Yeah, but when you brought that up, that just had me speechless. I was sitting up here taking everything in that you were saying because I was that person that would say, "Don't tie yourself down. Go out there and experience life.
Yeah.
You might miss out on something out there that's better. Possibly, I don't know. I just don't want you to just box yourself in and not really experience, other relationships. And it doesn't necessarily mean boyfriend, girlfriend, or anything like that. But just being, get out there and get some experience. But yes, what you were saying as far as promoting that, I think is very important.
And I feel like I've probably met someone as early as at 15 that if that was something that was promoted to say, you know what, it's okay for you to like him at 15 and you guys really just get to know each other and cultivate that relationship and healthiness, and then boom, y'all together and you're happy. I kind of wish like that was something that was a mindset or a atmosphere that I was in, to say you had that feeling about him, so you need to go ahead and be whatever, you know what I mean? Like not trying to just have a roster and notches on the belts. I mean, just get out here and truly go with who you feel for,
My bad. She said roster.
They're tripping at that too. So you just dropped some hot fire on top of what you were saying to listen.
Yeah, man. She said roster, and I thought about last night's game and stuff, and I could just see it. Starting guard coming off the bench.
Starting, we have this young gentleman, 45 years old. He has a degree in public science.
Yeah. Wow. Charlie 2 said, though I recently posted about why aren't we dating like a competitive exercise? If we are considering ourselves prizes or precious, stop dating like we are participation trophies. Yeah. Social media again, A&E shows that are out. I mean, it's interesting how they trying to find love, and it's like a game.
I just heard Eddie Murphy. Buckwheat, looking for love in all the wrong places.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yo, what you talking about Wednesday? We throwing any and everything out there. We started off with adulting 101, and now we're talking about the starting 5 in relationship.
What's up with lazy people? Anybody know anything about lazy people?
See, he look like he do. What Charlie said made me rethink, am I dating appropriately for my society? I am struggling with that thought presently.
I think that you date. I've read something that said, do not date, or people date at the level of their insecurities.
Wow.
That's deep.
That is.
Now, coming back to Melissa's.
Lazy people. I can't stand them. Woo! Why don't we we take and throw them in the algae dating pool? See what happened. Will they drown or will they try to save themselves? I can't stand some like man.
Save themselves. Throw me a rope.
No.
Yeah.
Come swim out and put the rope in my hand, lazy. Come on now.
I think it's become worse now. I think it's become worse, and especially after COVID, because everything was at a halt, and a lot of people didn't look at that as an opportunity to really restart their lives and restart themselves and have some sort of fire in them. So now people are just kind of like very, 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 very lazy in the things that they do. They don't try to understand. And I'll be honest with you, after COVID, every day is a gift to me. Every day is an opportunity to do something. Every day is to be successful and be cherished. And there's some people that just want to hang on the coattails of others and their work and the things that they do. And then they want to enjoy the fanfare and the pomp and circumstance and the hurrah and all of the accolades, but don't want to step forth and do anything. That's pure D, unmitigated, unadulterated, daggone lazy. Say that 3 times.
Let me tell you, my cousin in Alabama, rest in peace, he used to say a parrot can talk, but he can't do a nickel's worth of work.
Boy, she dropping them tonight, man.
Another one.
Write that down. Boy, say that again. Boy, that's powerful right there. A parrot.
Like,
Still waiting on the book.
That book come out, man. I'll be walking around saying, hey.
Let me hit you with this.
Let me hit you with the one. Hit me one time. Brother Collard Green, hit me one more time.
Yeah. For real. She dropping them. So Hitman said, what do you call lazy? Charlie 2 said, be careful. Lazy is not always that simple. It's mental health awareness. It's mental health
awareness month.
Yeah.
So just to be clear to you two,
yeah,
we are speaking of laziness, because if there is a reason behind an action being taken, it's not lazy. So to me, lazy is not doing what you need to do for yourself, not willing to help yourself, like literally waiting on others to make moves so you can benefit from that. Mental awareness month, I am definitely a person that supports that. I'm definitely not where I was when I first started my mental health journey, and I'm proud to say that. And I'm a therapy kid. I need a t-shirt that says it, and I love it. Mental health will cause you to literally not want to move. You are intentionally not moving because you're waiting for somebody else. And Brother Felix, it's the lack of, I think, initiative. I think being lazy is the lack of the tenacity to say, I want to try this. I want to do this. Lazy is, trash days is Fridays, and you always, your trash is pretty much spilling out because you're not even willing to take and walk 5 feet to take your trash can to the curb. Now that may tie into something, as Charlie 2's brought up, who knows? But there are people who are just that lazy. Like there isn't any mental illness, there isn't any ignorance that's there. They are just literally lazy, and wait for other people to do for them.
I'll give you an example. You sit up there and you got a roommate, and your roommate eats but leaves stuff right there. He don't eat at the table. He eats right here on the couch, and he'll leave his dirty dishes and stuff there, or leave clothes and such, or whatever. So, or you got a coworker who you find yourself, as you are working, trying to get to the deadline, they're doing enough to just get by. So then you find yourself accepting and taking on their work to make sure that everybody is successful.
Right.
Or you may be in a relationship, and in that relationship, you find yourself as the one who's always the catalyst to get things done in that relationship, whether it's going out, enjoying each other, sending platitudes to each other to make sure that the connection is still there. And the other individual that's in a relationship does nothing whatsoever, but then can complain. Those are examples of being lazy. And it's interesting because he just mentioned, he said, sometimes we create that behavior. Exactly. Because if you are the individual who do not speak up to other individuals not pulling their own weight, you are actually adding more fuel to that potential fire.
Yep.
So Charlie 2 said, oh, and I'm sure and understand, however, it's easily that disguised symptoms.
It is.
It is.
It definitely is.
But you can kind of tell though, if you really, I think, look at it's not even the habits, it's the way that individual carries themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And when they carry themselves, they find a sense of urgency on things that they really want to do versus the things that should be done. Mm-hmm. That's lazy. Mm-hmm. That is extreme laziness.
And let me throw this out there. Okay. Knowing the individual for years, would that give you an insight on being able to say that they're lazy? If that makes sense. Mm-hmm. You know their habits. You know them inside out.
Yeah. Charlie Twos, I got a hit up. It says, speaking about lazy, what about lazy lovers?
There you go. There you go. There you go. Hey.
Let's talk about those lazy lovers.
Ooh-wee. Define a lazy lover, Mel. What are you talking about? Please share. Are you talking about can't even get the sock off? Or are you talking about during the course of the relationship? You know.
So lazy lovers in general to me means that there is no effort given to try to satisfy, enjoy loving your partner. And it doesn't always have to come down to a sexual act. Just loving your partner is just there, because I'm a firm believer in whatever goes on outside the bed is usually what happens inside the bed. And so if and when it's time for you to make sure that that connection inside the bed is strong, you got to make sure that that connection outside the bed is strong. So if you lazy outside the bed, meaning you don't call, there ain't no text, you never got a hey, what's up, you don't do any just because, anything to show that person I love you. When it's time for you to get into that position in the bed, it's like, yes, it's nothing happening because you don't care. And again, it's what you said. Laziness is a behavior that's across the whole board. If you're a lazy person, you're lazy with everything that you are engaged with.
So, Charlie. She said, lazy lovers, another slippery slope in my favorite
lanes.
You got me with slippery.
He dropping jewels tonight.
Yeah. Hey, and that brings up a very important thing, because you mentioned as far as, you know, how they act outside is how they act inside. The you know, if outside of the relationship, well, the relationship versus the, you know, intimacy part or whatever. And that's important. I think a lot of times we miss that. Sometimes couples miss opportunities to reinvent themselves, you know, a lot. And especially if you've been in a relationship for a very long time, you can get lazy. You can get very complacent.
You get complacent.
And you miss the opportunities, you know, especially ironically enough, tying into what you were talking about as far as adulting 101. When you have adult children, and you know, basically they're grown, so your hands are no longer on them and guiding them and instructing them and such as you used to. So now there's an opportunity between you and your spouse or your mate to reignite the chemistry between the two of you, to re-examine, hey, yeah, we're older, and yeah, the things we used to do and such back in the day we can't do anymore. But what can we do to keep this?
What can we do now?
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
because if your man or your woman lacks patience with you outside the bedroom, 9 times out of 10, they lack patience with you in the bed. If they are very dominant in their relationship, and I'm an alpha woman, so I'm not speaking on being alpha. I'm just saying, just kind of want to run everything, control everything, kind of tell you what to do. That's how sex is with them as well. It's going to be the same way. And so when people try to separate it, it's a never ending battle, because the change has to come with the behaviors of the person.
Get over
in
there.
order for it to do.
Give me that pill.
I was thinking that as well, hey, money.
You said what?
Get over there.
I said harder. No, okay, I'm sorry.
I'm not even gonna do it. I almost said something, so I'm trying to keep my peace because my wife back in. But
Renee be the one. I'm sorry, Queen Renee. I'm sorry. I had to. I'm sorry.
Bro, Phil said that the person who's not getting what they are giving should speak up. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The community. Hey, and it's funny you say that, because our resident expert said all of this though boils down to development of communication skills. It's about talking. It's about saying, hey, yeah. And if there is no change,
after you address the issue, it's time for you to lead a relationship. Pack it up.
Taking my whips and chains and I'm out.
Take my handcuffs and I'm gone. I'm gonna get somebody who can appreciate my dominator. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Too funny. Too funny.
No, mistress. No.
That's usually how it sounds.
So what you talking about Wednesday, y'all? Any and everything. Look at the dialogue we got going on now. But it's. I think with relationships, it's important that we do communicate with each other, because again, I think when you've been together for so long, you assume. Well, it's not even an assumption. It's being complacent that you think that everything's going to remain the same, and we are not the same. If you think about it. When you've been with somebody for over 20 some years, you think back on, and it's funny because Renee and I were looking at pictures of when we were younger, when we had first got together and stuff. And the first thing came out of our mouths was like, "Well, look how young we were." And Renee was like, "Ooh, look how little I was, Kay." And I'm like, "Look how little I was, man." And but over years, if you think about it, we've evolved, we've grown closer, we've grown. But how we treat each other needs to change as well. It needs to evolve. It needs to allow us to say, you know what? We can't do this, but we can do this. And one of the things we talked about is, hey, what can we do to start really enjoying these years together? Hey, babe, how about we start going to concerts again and stuff, or doing little quick day trips or whatever sort, or we make an adventure of going out and doing some vintage shopping, whatever the case may be, to keep us drawn together and enjoying each other's company and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Or doing what Charlie just now posted.
Party with Charlie. And that's why she's my BBFF. Partywithcharlie.com.
Yes, y'all go there. In relationships, you will date several versions of each other.
There you go. And
that's it.
That is the multiple persons going back and tying back to our monogamy conversation. You're going to change into different versions of yourself. That guy is going to change into different versions of himself. And if and when your partner is changing, you should be excited. You should be welcoming,
mm-hmm.
and you should be understanding, because you're not the same person. But I had somebody else hit me up really, really quick that they have been with someone for a number of years, and that is it odd that their sexual attraction and acts are just as intense, as enjoyable as when they first met.
All right.
I commend you.
Yeah.
Salute.
Salute for real.
Yeah. Charlie, this is something for you. This is a question for you. Do you find out that there's a lot of people in this situation that they're just as attracted and just as, it's just fire still, and it's been 10, 20 plus years of them being together?
Think about Rick James when you said it, fire and desire.
No, Rick James is one of my favorites. Oh. Yeah, wow. That does happen, Charlie. That does happen. I forgot people are listening. You should also remember not to hold them back, because you're scared of the growth will separate you.
Charles said, yes, I do.
Okay. So it's not so uncommon. It's not so uncommon. Cool.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie. I look at my wife and I'll be like,
what your name is, girl? What your name is? I like the way you're growling on pots in there.
Yeah. We've done that before, in which I was like, if I was to come up to you, would I still have play? And she's like, yeah, you would, I still look at her as though she is like fine wine. She is just, bad. That's my bad. I wish I would have married her earlier. I told her that. She bad. She is bad.
Your wife is very beautiful.
Money.
So is this why we changed our look up? Is this why we changed our look up? Because you in the mood to do some things, to be different. Is that what that is?
No.
What your name is? Anthony instead of Adrian. What is?
Did not have a part to play in that. Like I said, my feelings would be the same with a mustache, goatee, bald head, all of that.
Right. I switch it up. I make her think she would a younger version of me, a more mature version of me, the playboy version of me, the rich version of me. But I got levels.
He got levels for Queen T. He got levels.
But like I told you before, as soon as she saw it, grow that facial hair back. Look too much like your dad.
You are like Mr. Biddle.
Yes.
Charlie said, we are not possessions. We are in a concert with each other. Okay.
Nice.
So she said, Charlotte says, I will say there's couples who have great communication and trust each other for transparency in the flaws and all.
Yeah. And I think that comfort zone, that safety, because people don't talk about their safety in sex. There's transparency. There's a whole nakedness that takes place before any clothes come off. That makes it so much better because you're so connected, and your communication style sometimes that's kind of when you get to that point where you can think something and they react to what you thought. You didn't even speak it. That's deep. And so having to have that transparency, having that sense of communication and safety, that's one of the things that are big for me in therapy. I find out having safety and having protection, making me feel protected, making me feel safe, helps me be less pit bull. And it keeps it for a beautiful person experience. And not too many people get a chance to see that side of me. So.
Okay.
Charlie said, those who keep the spice for longevity in their relationship, that is work.
Yeah.
Agree.
True. But it's fun. It's one of the
I'm glad. Say that again.
It's work, but it's fun. Trying to think of how to word it so people can. A lot of times, I've talked to people and people are so astounded that, oh man, you've been married that long and blah 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 and stuff, and they think, that's it's a milestone, it's amazing and such. And one of the things I tell them is that I don't look at the years that I've been married with her per se. I just look at every day I get to spend time with my best friend. And when I do spend time with my best friend, we experience a lot of it. We call them adventures. That's one of the funniest things we do when we get into the car and we drive. I said, oh, we're off to a new adventure, huh? and she starts laughing, like, because we always encounter something. And then when we get home, we get to talk about it and laugh about it. And then just when it comes to, us being intimate with each other, like it's not about sex, because to me, the intimacy is just us sitting down and having a glass of wine and we laugh and trip about the day.
Yep, intimacy is not sex.
Right. And we talk about things that we've done, the things that we've accomplished, the things we want to do. We become naked with each other emotionally. Yep. And we share everything with each other. And I think when you do that over the years, it becomes second nature, and it's almost like the air you breathe. And from there, the years go by quick. And then you're looking at 26, 27, 28 years or whatever. And you're like, you shrug your shoulders. You're like, hey, let's keep it going.
And then
it's amazing.
And then when you get to that point and you get the chance to grow older together, and the longer I'm here on earth and I see it all the time, you wonder why when someone's spouse passes away, the other one is not too long after following them.
Yeah, because my grandfather, when he passed, it's because of my grandmother. She passed, and when she passed, he passed away 30 days afterwards, Thanksgiving, and around that close to Thanksgiving, day before Thanksgiving, as a matter of fact. And it's because of the life that they led with each other. It's one of those things in which, when God has brought you that perfect mate,
right?
Again, the life you live is not just your life; it's you two intertwined together, going through life.
Right.
So, it's an amazing thing to.
It's a beautiful thing. It's so beautiful. And it's so I look at my dad and his wife, my stepmother, and I'm in awe of them growing old together through physical difficulties, through medical difficulties. They just make an adjustment because the goal is to be together. There isn't a whole bunch of room to talk and figure it out. It's to be together. And that is such a inspiration to me, and such I have an example. Go back to us talking about, even at a 48-year-old child, I still have my dad and my stepmother as examples as far as what you want out of a relationship, what you want out of a marriage. What do you to be together, to have somebody to be that ride or die for you. There's nothing like it. Yeah. There's nothing like it. And sometimes you may say, oh, just give in. In the beginning, I was like, Dad, you just give in. Whatever she say, go. I'm like, stand up for yourself. And he said, "That's my wife."
Mm.
And that's all he said. There wasn't no explanation. There wasn't. He said, "That's my wife." In other words, it don't matter. That's my wife. I'm gonna do whatever, you know. And I feel blessed to be around them. And they're still frisky, you know, at 84 and 80. It's still like, really? Like, I don't even want to have this conversation with y'all. Like, I don't even want to talk about this over breakfast. Like, no, but it's cute and it's adorable, but it's so deep, you know, that people probably wish for that, you know. Quality of life diminishes and heartbroken. Your life is hard without that mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
My grand set the example for me why I am cool on how my relationships was rocking out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It is. It is. Oh, family. We did it again.
Did it again.
Look at the time. Oh my goodness. Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk it?
Trying to see
everybody chiming in.
Yeah.
What's going on? What's going on? Let's read it real quick before we leave.
I'm still tripping off the dominatrix research. Over here side surfing on partywithcharlie.com. I'm sorry, y'all. Yay.
That's why she's my VBFF.
Yeah, she got some. Y'all need to check it out. She got some stuff on here.
She got some stuff for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this don't work. Meet me at the paint. I ain't got another relationship in me. Oh man.
Woo.
I hear now. Charlie,
what's going on with season 3? Gee.
Yeah.
Ugh.
See that boy. You gotta come to the paint.
I might watch season 2 over again.
I know, right? It was fire. It was fire. Oh, shouts out to A Money. A Money got me turned. Hey, boy, hit me about Picard. Boy, I went ahead and watched that 10th episode yesterday morning while I went to work.
He
might not. Did you watch A Money?
Well, Picard.
Yeah.
You watched the last episode that came out?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Been on it.
Gotcha.
That thing been fire.
I'm a Ted Lasso Apple TV girl.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
I love Ted Lasso. I think this season is a different speed, but yeah, I like it.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, there's some shows, boy. Y'all need to check them out. But hey, y'all, unfortunately, we've got to get ready to tie things up. It's around that time. It's been a burner. We enjoy it. We love y'all for joining us. If you get a chance, watch it again. Share it with everybody. Tomorrow, Queen Charlotte Bridgerton story.
That's right. Yep. That's right.
Yep. Yeah, that's gonna be fire right there, boy. Tell the story.
It's amazing. She said Ted is good. It's amazing of the charlatans that had an issue with Queen Charlotte of Bridgerton being black. I said, how do you not know the history of the city that you live in? Brother Felix, thank you for tuning in, and we hope that you come back again and give us. We appreciate your comments and your participation.
Yes, indeed.
Love you too, Charlie.
Love you, Charlie.
Got you. Mm-hmm.
And again, share the show, y'all. Other people need to hear about this. We love their input. See what they think, and we'll do it again next week. Y'all be good.
Cheers, Charlie.